Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's take another look here at SUI, see what's going on. We're going to double check a few key factors, such as this local resistance at 438. We've broken above that so far, and it's looking like a pretty solid situation. And congrats again to those who were able to get in the mid to upper $3 range. That is fantastic. In fact, I actually put a limit order in at 350 and got filled surprisingly, and that position's up almost 25% already. So it's pretty amazing. Granted, that was just a spot play. Keep in mind, I'm not going to be taking leverage trades in the blind like that. You shouldn't either, but the general consensus here is that we're mostly back on track. I'll explain why. So be sure to stick around so you kind of understand some of those contributing factors that we like to look for when you have a bullish type of convergence or shift in momentum. Okay, we're gonna start with liquidation levels first, and just before we do, thank you again so much for always hitting that like button. Just being an awesome part of my life. Deeply appreciate you. My SUI community is pretty awesome. There's a couple of emotional idiots that come in here and there, but eventually those who stick around and continue to learn realize that their own mistakes. A lot of times they'll come back and apologize and say like, "Man, I was just being an idiot," and that's okay. We all are entitled to do that sometimes. But the key takeaway is to learn from your mistakes. I make them all the time, so trust me on that. It's all good, but at this point here, we want to look at liquidation first, just kind of preface, and we'll go from there. All mistakes aside, the fact that you keep getting back in the ring, so to speak, is a testament. And if you're looking to do this full time, I do have a trading academy, community, and signals group. We all learn and grow together. It's a really awesome experience. So check that out if you have questions. Linked down below. My contact information is down there. So 480 to 520 is a rough estimate of the local liquidation areas based on the last 7 days. We do zoom out and we look down. We can see that majority of these liquidations have occurred here down at 360. So when I listed this here previously, this is that anything in purple is usually a heavy liquidation range. That mostly got swept. While not all of it did, majority of it did. Market makers are laughing on the way to the bank right now. Okay, all the while high leverage longs are all feeling pretty sad. Those are actually probably medium to low leverage longs too, honestly. Again, all the more reason why you don't take any longs with leverage right now in the current market. I know it sounds crazy. You're probably up on your position right now laughing at the fact that I said that. But the truth is it's irresponsible to do that, at least until you break a descending trend, which we're doing now. So let's talk about that. First of all, daily time frame. Working our way down, we can recognize that we are back up above this 0.382 fib level. That's kind of that point of contention I was talking about previously. The descending trend line looking good. We're also over the 20-day SMA and bounced basically off the 50-day SMA. Now, that's not the reason why the price came down to that level exactly. I think liquidation has a lot more to do with it, but the 50-day SMA is a good barometer of what side of the tracks you're on, and we're still in a bullish trend right now. Even being below the 20-day SMA, we'd still be in a pretty good situation. But being over the 20 is an exceptional situation, allowing us to, basically ride the wave here, right? The price is probably more likely to go higher here. All the more reason why being above 50 in the RSI is positive, while the money flow index is below the price action. We've seen more selling pressure in the last 14 days than we have buying pressure. So the good news about this here is that MFI is going to start balancing itself out here soon. But more importantly, that's not really something you want to focus on too much. The MACD and stochastic are still trying to swing upwards. They haven't yet. So while we do have a nice little pullback here or a continuation higher, you don't want to just blindly take a long at the top here, hypothetically. But there's also a lot of reasons why you should too. And I'll explain that here on the 4 hour, because this does help us understand a lot. So 4 hour time frame, we got the 20-day SMA running concurrent with this descending trend line. What's the first thing you look for in a trend reversal? Typically it's range bound activity, but it's also breaking a descending trend, right? So generally both occur concurrently, but they don't always have to. What I'm getting at here is, instead of the price going sideways and then, naturally becoming above the descending trend line, it did this really funky, down and up thing. Again, this is typical SUI. All the more reason why I just want to reinforce this and reiterate, do not short SUI ever. I don't care if you caught the top at 460 and got it at 350. You took a high risk trade and it's just not really advantageous. Granted, shorts are inherently a higher risk, but shorting SUI is just, I've noticed it's not, I'm basically 50-50 on my shorts for SUI, which is terrible because I trade more like 80% on average. So I don't really like having a 50-50 chance of success. So just know that shorting is inappropriate generally. Obviously, the trend was down and it made sense, but it's still not ideal. Either way you look at it here, we are above the 20-day SMA, and this 0.382 fib level, previous support level, you can kind of see holding as a support. Now that we've retested, if we can close above, we're looking pretty good to see further upside, right? So a closure today at 435 or higher sounds to me like we're in pretty good shape to see further upside. All that being said, we have a lot of confirmation here letting us know that we are effectively back on track. We're over 50 on the RSI, stochastic swinging up, money flow index increasing, MACD soon to converge here. A lot of reasons why further upside, and the likelihood of this 45 to possibly even 520, right? We could even see 520 in this run as a distinct probability, right? Pending Bitcoin doesn't run towards lower 90K range again, I think we're in pretty good shape here with SUI. Right. Hourly time frame, Ichimoku cloud, we can see that we are peaking above the cloud. This isn't perfect, but it's getting there. What I mean by that is my rule of thumb for taking a trade, with Ichimoku cloud alone. Just say you only ever use that. You have to ensure that the candles, we see about 3 or 4 candles close above this level. Okay, so that's again all the more reason why later today, if this comes to pass, hypothetically an entry in the 440 to 445 range would be appropriate. Ideally, if the price pulls back and continues higher, right? So my anticipation from yesterday, my playout chart from yesterday, included 2 things. It included this, and then of course a rejection off the trend line. Neither of those things occurred, but what is happening right now is hypothetically that very first initial continuation where we had to break above this descending trend line, and we have to close above this 0.382 fib level. So again, a closure at 440 today or higher would be perfect to give us the indication of further upside. Okay, so whether you take it long now or later, it's up to you. This coin does have a tendency of running, and you may miss some opportunities. So the price might even be higher by the time you see this video, and if so, that's just the way it goes. And if it's a little bit lower, I'm feeling like 440 to 435 is a decent area of consideration if the price pulls back to that level. Again, the reason why that's beneficial is because we're allowing the descending trend line to establish itself as a support. A lot of times you'll see a bullish back test after you break free from a trend line. And then secondary to that, our previous resistance range at 435, that's hard to say, is essentially going to be retested as a support. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at there. So I would say 440 to 450 roughly is a good consideration for long, pending we do not close under 435 today. Okay. All right, cool. Good stuff. Hope that makes sense and I described that correctly. Thanks again so much for just being fantastic persons, and appreciate you nonetheless. You know who you are. You're just consistently in my life, and I'm consistently in yours too, so thank you. Last but not least, we do trade with Bitunix too, folks, as a committee. Link down below, $12,000 deposit bonus this month only. Next month, I think we'll probably have a trading competition. The key takeaway is if you use my link to register once, you'll always be eligible for any future benefit. So heads up on that. Also, I'll post my Twitter, Telegram, and Discord playout charts. Those are available for you there if you're curious. Hope you have a good rest of your day, though, folks. Thanks again for your time. See you soon.